today on BKRsport. It is time to do a super early SuperCoach for the NRL team picker, where we go through, I guess, my first of 2024 team that will be absolutely picked apart over the coming weeks, over the next month and a half or so. However, it's always interesting to obviously talk a little bit about SuperCoach and what we're thinking about for the new year, kind of what our pre-season thoughts are, then what happens throughout pre-season that changes our mind, and then obviously as the season progresses. So I'm going to be posting a bit about SuperCoach this year, guys, because I absolutely love it. And today we're actually going to go through the forwards section of what I'm kind of thinking about doing with my team. I do want to explain kind of my thought process as to why I'm selecting this guy and I'm selecting that guy, rather than, just kind of putting it all together in a short little video. So yeah, I'll do the forwards today, second rowers, front rowers, and the hookers, and kind of explain what my thoughts are. If you do love your NRL and you love your SuperCoach, we're posting daily here, so hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here. But let's get into it. Now, guys, again, just to really reiterate to you, this is the first time I've even opened the team picker, and this is my first team that will change dramatically through the off-season. So I've made myself a little bit smaller here so that you can see the top of the list there. So obviously, there is the big guns here in SuperCoach, like your Harry Grant, like your Damien Cook, who, I don't feel like people are crazily high on right now. I don't think, obviously, Damien Cook has been at his peak for a few years now. Obviously, still one of the better when it comes to, the SuperCoach game. However, I do think that there are better options out there. I think that if you're going to go for a real big stud, it is going to be the Harry Grant. But you do have Jerry Marshall-King at the Dolphins. You've got Blake Brayley for the Sharkies, Wade Egan the Warriors. Abby Conway-Sauer, if you think the Tigers are going to do well this year, then fantastic. Me, Reece Robson is a guy that I looked at last year, and I said that's the guy that I really wanted. Obviously, the Cowboys were crushing it in 2022 and then completely fell off in 2023. If you believe the Cowboys are going to be back again this year, then that's a pretty good shout there in Reece Robson, because he is a massive part about the Cowboys. Obviously, I predicted that he'd make his New South Wales debut last year. I said he was going to be, real pushing for it, and obviously game 3, hello, how you doing? But yeah, look, I think that Reece Robson is a good shout if you think the Cowboys are going to be kind of back up and amongst the fray of being a quality team. I just don't think they're going to be a top 4 team by any standards, by any means there. So he is definitely some guy that I'm going to keep an eye on. Obviously, Chrissy Randall is here at 499,800. I find that quite interesting that he is above Sammy Verrills. Obviously, Chris Randall is a solid player. The only reason that Verrills is below him, I would say, is because of the injury factor. If you think that Sam Verrills isn't going to be heavily injured this year, which is a very difficult thing to predict, obviously. It's actually impossible to predict, but Sam Verrills does seem to have that little injury curse there, so I guess that's why he's priced as low as he is and below Chris Randall, who isn't the starting hooker there. Chrissy Randall is more of a guy that you come off the bench and be the forwards utility. Can play front row, can play back row, can play hooker, can play lock. That's the benefit of having a Chrissy Randall there. So if I was to go either of those two, I still would go Sammy Verrills. The Titans are going to be much better this year. Look, I can tell you that till the cows come home. Obviously, I'm a Titans fan. You guys don't have to believe me. It's your choice. But at the end of the day, Desi Hasler's going to get the best out of them. So, I do think that Sam Verrills is a really nice shout, but there is concerns around Sam Verrills, to be completely honest with you, due to those injuries. So, to go over it all here, I would kind of stay away from the Warriors for a little bit, see how they go and progress into the season, if they're a one-hit wonder, or, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck does make them a better team, and Sean Johnson is kicking on from last year. I'd wait on the Warriors, to be honest with you. Blake Brayley is a nice little shout there, though, at 579,800. I don't mind the opportunity of Blake Brayley with the Sharkies. Kind of having it this year, it seems like they're kind of forced to... I feel like they're going to be forced to have a huge year. I think they're going to be forced to have a huge year based on the fact that they've been struggling in recent years. They've got a much better team than the results have produced, and maybe now they've actually learned from that. So I'm actually going to put Blake Brayley into my team there as the hooker. I am going to do. I'm not going to go with Harry Grant. I understand that if you want that bolt every single week, then yeah, Harry Grant's the guy. But for me, that does mean that you can kind of go with a Sammy Verrills there, like a Blake Brayley and Sammy Verrills. If you want to go down for like the rookies that might get a shout here, Blake Moser for the Broncos, if the Broncos get sick of Billy Walters, Blake Moser could definitely come in there. I can't really see Oscar Bryant getting a shout at the Titans, unless injuries do obviously really pick up there with Sammy Verrills and then Chrissy Randall, then Oscar Bryant might get a crack there. But with that being said, I kind of wouldn't go out of my way to be selecting him Who else is one that kind of pops out? Riley Jones, but not really. The Knights have got a couple of hookers there. Oh, that's another one. Jaden Brayley. Where's Jaden Brayley? Jaden Brayley is coming back. Phoenix Crossland here is priced at 470,100. He's a 5'8" end hooker, so dual status. You like that. But Jaden Brayley is at 330,000. I think if you're going Blake Brayley, then I think you can probably go with Jaden Brayley as well. I think that's a good shout because then that's kind of equaling out to Harry Grant financially speaking. You're obviously not spending $1 million on a hooker, which is what you do if you have Harry Grant. You would have to spend at least $1 million. And I know that the cap has gone up this year, but it's only by about 20,000. So I've got Blake Brayley there as a hooker, and I've got Jaden Brayley there as the hooker on the bench for the Knights at 330,000. There's just no one that really stands out to me here. There's no one really that stands out to me. Maybe Gordon Chan-Kum-Tong for Manly might get a shout. Don't even look at me, Sonny Luke. Sonny Luke is a no shout. No chance whatsoever. Absolutely no chance whatsoever. After last year, he burnt a lot of people, so that's a no to Sonny Luke. So that's who I probably am looking at right now, Blake Brayley and Jaden Brayley. Sharkies, big year. Blake will be a big part of that. And also, I believe they've got the most technically easiest run ever, apparently. Apparently they've got the easiest schedule across the board, which is not something that I think is great for their team as a whole in real life, but in SuperCoach, it's fantastic. So I'll take Blake Brayley and then Jaden Brayley, cheapy, and will be the starting 9 there with Phoenix Crossland more than likely playing that 14 role. All right, let's go into the front rower section now. And Tino, big Tino Fa'asuamaleaui Malawi is number 1 there at 791,500. Definitely like that, especially with the improvement of the Titans this year. However, I don't know how much his scores are going to improve with the club. I think that Tino is a guy that, when you're solely relying on him, I think he's going to get massive scores. But I think that the scores are going to be really kind of shared around this year at the Titans in the forwards. So for me, 791,500, I might wait on Tino, to be completely honest with you. Same kind of goes with Payne Haas. But look, I just don't think that you need to splash massive cash early days on the front rowers. I really don't think you need to splash massive cash here, and you can kind of leave it so that you can have that really big, halves pairing, or your second rowers is where you really want to look at, but there's a lot of mid-ranges for the second rowers this year. I personally am going to stay away from Tino Payne for at least the first couple of weeks, and Adam Fanua-Blake is a bit of a hard one to read for me, because obviously he's going to the Sharkies in 2025. So how is he going to go at the New Zealand Warriors in 2024? He's a massive unit. He's a massive player. I think that if the Warriors are going to do well, he's going to have to keep on cracking on. Personally, for me, I'm going to take Adam Fanua-Blake. I do think that he is very, very quality there for the Warriors. The only interesting thing will be if the success correlates. But with that being said, he is the main man in that forward pack. Obviously, they've got Toa Harris as well. And their forwards are okay. They're nothing incredible, in my personal opinion. I know they've got Kurt Capewell now, which could help, but he's kind of like a bare minimum quality, but bare minimum player. I'll go Adam Fanua-Blake. I think that's I didn't really want to go with one of those big dogs, actually, to be fair. I really didn't want to look at one of them. I guess you have to go with at least one of the top 3. I think you have to go with one of the top 3 there. And then you go down, obviously, Joseph Tarpany, Mitchell Barnett, not for me in regards to Barnett. Jack DeBellin, an absolute workhorse there at the Dragons. Maxi King is a starting front row forward there for the Dogs, but I just don't see him taking, more, going up more. I just really don't see it. I don't think that at 547,800 it's worth it. I think there's guys around him. Ruben Cotter could be one that can have a better year this year. Josh Papali'i, Christian Welch, David Clemmer at the Tigers. I don't know how that situation's kind of unfolding here. Front row forwards are a really interesting bunch this year. Where's Keenan Palacia? Is he labelled here as a front rower, or is he labelled here as a lock? Is Palacia... So Isaac Liu is front row and second row. Oh, there he is. Keenan Palacia, second row, front row at 365,200. I think that's a really good shout. I think that's a really, really solid shout there because there is the chance that he could play in that lock position with Isaac Liu and obviously Aaron Clark maybe not doing enough just at the moment to be the starting guy. Keenan Palacia might go there, or they may shift Tino into that lock and Palacia may get the front row. I think that he's good. I think that I'd put him onto my bench though. So I need to look at my starting front row first, and then I'll go to Palacia. Lindsay Smith, Thomas Burgess, Leo, Tavi Rudolph, Jimmy Jolliffe is a big one there. Regan Campbell out of the Eels. I do think the Eels will do better this year. But I'm thinking maybe a Ruben Cotter. I'm thinking an Adam Fanor-Blake and a Ruben Cotter. The Cowboys might have to start off with a bang in those front rowers and those forwards this year. Jakey, no, I don't think Jakey Trbojevic is the guy anymore. His age is obviously probably getting on a little bit. Alright, who am I talking about there? Jakey Trbojevic, yeah. I don't know. I think that I'd prefer to go a little bit younger there. I don't want to go so heavily, unless I was to get like a team or pain, but I just don't want to do that. Where would I go? I'd probably look towards maybe like a... So we've got Adam Fanor-Blake, and then I'll maybe look at Ruben Cotter, and then I do want Keenan Palasia here. I do want... Where's Palasia? Three... There he is. Keenan Palasia there. I think that's a really good shout. And then I want to go have a look here at what are the real cheapies that could be getting a shout. Benjamin Takura of the Broncos. Don't think he gets too much of an opportunity. Valepu. I've heard things about Lazarus Valepu, and the Storm are not in a place where positions are locked off outside of the spine realistically. Zach Montgomery. I don't think Josiah Bahula gets a great of a chance this year, but I do like Josiah. I haven't really heard much about all these other guys around how Viliami Fifita at the Dragons is a guy that maybe getting an opportunity this year. Yeah, I think out of the 204,300s, I think that Viliami Fifita is one that has that slight little opportunity where at the Dragons, nothing's guaranteed, and also he's dual position as well, and he's the cheapest. So, yeah, 204,300, I'm definitely not complaining with that. I feel like I'm definitely going to be changing those front rowers around quite a bit. I feel like I'm not exactly a great deal happy with Ruben Cotter and Adam Fanor-Blake right now, but I guess that's just because I don't have one of those Tino or Paynes as we currently speak. Or even a Joseph Tarpany. I could look to taking that Cotter and putting Tarpany there with the Raiders having to do the hard yards for the forwards this year. The forwards are going to really have to step it up, in my personal opinion. Actually, I'm convincing myself out of it. I'm actually going to take Ruben Cotter out. I am. For an extra, what? Ruben Cotter was what? He was 5'7". Tarpany is 6'56", so it's an extra 100k. But I do think that the Raiders are going to have to step it up a notch this year in the forwards because their back line is a lot weaker, especially with no Jackie White in there. They've got Ko Weeks and Jamal Fogarty. They need to really do what the Tigers have been doing, where their back line's so bad that they have to have the forwards really turn it up a notch. The Raiders have always been known to have a solid four-pack, so I don't think that Tarpany's numbers will go down. I think that he'll be very, very solid, and I'll put him alongside Adam Fanor-Blake. I don't mind that one a lot more. I'm actually a lot more happy with that front row pairing, but again, this will change quite a lot. All right, now we go into the back rowers here, and this one for me is you don't kind of want to really mess this one up. You kind of need to know exactly what you're doing before the season starts. You don't want to go into a season with second row forwards that are just, awful. Obviously, you don't want to go in with an awful second row pack, but also you don't want to spend too much money there as well. And also, don't spend crazy money on your bench. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do need to obviously have some players on the bench there, but at the end of the day, you kind of work your way to have a really solid bench. So, don't go out and buy big buddy demo guns. I think the first play for me here that we're gonna grab is Bowie Firma. Absolutely, 467,300. He has come back from an ACL or Achilles, one of the two. I think it was an ACL. He's already come back from an ACL before. Had that 2022 season, was fantastic, and then obviously did his ACL again before the start of last year. We didn't see him play a single game last year. This guy is the epitome of what Desi Hasler wants. Bowie Firma has come back from his injury. He told me specifically, personally, that if there was footy in November, he would have been playing. Or if there was footy in October, besides the grand final, if there was footy in October, he would have been playing. So he has had plenty. He's getting a full preseason in now. He knows how to come back from an injury like this before, and is going to be in a side that Desi has. Is going to love this guy. He's a hard worker. He's the number one hard worker on the team right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. Based on the statistic thing that they did the other day, he's like the hardest worker. And the toughest player or something like that. So, yeah, really happy with Bowie Firma on my team at 467,300, especially with his attacking stats that he got the other year. But with that being said, I do think a lot of the scores in the Titans are going to be shared around quite a bit this year. Then you go and have a look at the rest, I do like Britton Nakora here for the Sharkies. Again, I'm kind of high on the Sharks this year. I do think they're going to have some pretty good attacking numbers, especially with their easy draw, and with the fact that I do think they've got a lot to prove this year. So I am happy to go with Britton Nakora here at 710,400. And then, I'm not really too keen on Hamoli Okwatu at 699,800. I'm not really too keen on going a great deal of these. Jermaine Hopgood at the Eels really exploded. Like, Bowie Furman, Nakora, and Jermaine Hopgood could be a massive starting three there, to be completely honest with you, because I do think that there are some guys down here for the cheapies. I do think that there are some chances down here. I'm just trying to look and see some of these names. Not even maybe right at the bottom, but Justin Matamu at the Tigers. I actually don't mind Justin Matamu. I just don't think he's going to get too much of an opportunity. Jack Howarth is one that you kind of want. We've been wanting to see for a while now, but Jack Howarth just isn't getting the opportunity at the Storm. But at 238,900, I don't think it's a bad shout, especially with the 2023 average of 44. That's a pretty good average for a guy at 238,900. We'll come back down to this, but I think Jack Howard's definitely going to be in the team for the time being when we get to that bench. And then, who should be my last second row? Because I really want to splurge in that 5'8" and halfback department. I really do. But now you guys are starting to see why I didn't want to do the full team today. I want to do the forwards and then the backs. Because I obviously like to explain my thought process and like to explain what I'm thinking there. No way to Tom Bitchy. No way. I may go with Jermaine Hopgood here. I may go with Nakora, Jermaine Hopgood, and Bowie Firma. That's what I'm going to do. I like it. Yeah, I like it. I'm going to go with Bowie Firma, Britt Nakora, and Jermaine Hopgood as my starting three there. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look at Trey Mooney is another one that could get a crack. He could get a crack at the Raiders this year. Where's that? There he is. Jack Howarth. For his price, for his average when he comes in, he only played the one game, but he got 44. Like, I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with that. Someone off Ainu, Tepai Moroa. 24 games for Jack Hetherington, average 26.2. No, thank you. I'm okay with that one. Matthew Dory, don't think he'll get too much there. Makezi Makatoa doesn't really get... he gets games, but he doesn't really do too much there. Who is what? Tallis Duncan. Now, Tallis Duncan is a really big one there. Obviously came onto the scene for the Rabbitohs last year and blew it apart, and I think that he's definitely got an opportunity to work his way into that team, and the Rabbitohs fans absolutely love him, the Rabbitohs love him. So I think that Tallis Duncan at 321,600 is a really good possibility. A really, really solid possibility there. Yeah, I'm happy with Tallis Duncan, and I want just one more just one more around there. Unfortunately, Joey Simpson's probably not going to get too much of an opportunity this year, guys. I'll tell you that right now. Kai Pearce-Paul for the Knights. Kai Pearce-Paul coming in at 345,000. Yeah, Kai Pearce-Paul. But he's a forward from England, though. I don't usually like English players if they're backs, but a forward from England. I don't think the Knights are going to be anywhere near as good as they were this year. But, a forward from England, we did see him in the World Cup. He did have a good, solid crack. I did like him there. Maybe he can fit in with the team. I'm not too sure, but I do think for that price, you still got 5,942,300 here to select, your back line. I think that's okay. I do think that people will look towards that front row pairing and say you'd like a Tino or Payne. I kind of wanted to go away from that a little bit, but with that being said, I still splurged a lot of cash in the front row, so maybe not so much the greatest of ideas. Let's just quickly go and have a bit of a quick scan here just to see if anything pops out at me as I scroll down. Not really right now. There's just not really. And I think Jason Tamalolo's days are kind of numbered, to be fair. He's obviously elite back in the day, though. There's just nothing that really kind of pops out to you in this range besides maybe a Ken Palasi who might get a solid opportunity here at the Titans. But then again, he wasn't a Desi Hasler signing, FYI. He was a Justin Holbrook signing. But he had a massive finals campaign for the Broncos. Shekinah Mitchell kind of burned me a bit last year. He kind of burned me a little bit. Yeah, look, I think for now I'm happy with that forwards area. Blake Brayley, Jaden Brayley. I might even go with more of a cheapie in the hooker department. over Jaden. But with that being said, I'm kind of happy with that Blake and Jaden connection there. The front row forwards definitely probably changes around, but Tarpany and Adam Blake are definitely no pushovers. Palacia, Prospect, and Fafita, just a very, very cheap opportunity. Dragons, they're a shambles, so maybe he gets a crack, and I think that'll be a good chance. Back rowers, Bowie Firma, love it. Attacking weapon, and has come back from an injury like this before, and is a type of player that Desi will love. Brett Nakora and Jermaine Hopgood, two guys that are proven in this area, are quite expensive, but you do lose. If you're not going all three big boppers, like look for example, like a Bowie Firma at 467, which is a bit cheaper, like a mid-ranger, and then you got Talis Duncan, cheapie, Piers Paul, cheapie, and Jack Howarth, real cheapie. So you kind of do subsidise by not going those three like big time weapons there in the second row. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking there for my first selection of the forwards. I'm going to jump now straight into my back line, but you guys will probably see that in a couple of days' time. Let me know your team in the comment section below. Looking forward to seeing it. Obviously, you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. If you have any thoughts about players or questions, or you just want to get a bit of a chat going, jump in that comment section, and I appreciate you as always. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.